and welcome to Palm Beach Senior Chat. My name is Marina Ramirez, and I am the owner of Assisting Hands Palm Beach. We're here today with Nina Paul of Nina Paul
PA.
Thank you, Nina. Welcome to Senior Chat. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
We're very happy to see you. We wanted to ask you, can you tell us more about your background, please?
Oh, absolutely. I actually, from New Jersey, went to college in Florida, went to Stetson, and I have a degree in finance. Through Stetson, I came down to North Palm Beach as a financial advisor. So I actually started my career as a financial planner, transitioned from there to health insurance.
Okay.
I worked for Humana for 8 years, and from there went into real estate. I got my real estate license in 1989 and did some commercial work, and then found my way into senior living. So for the last 10 years, I was a marketing director of a very large senior living community here in town and worked with seniors. And
now you have your own business.
Now I have my own business.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yes.
So what does Nina Paul PA do?
So as I was in my senior living business, there wasn't a day that went by that I didn't hear, I'd love to move in your community, but I have to sell my house. I don't know where to start. This is all too much for me. So over the years, I just kept thinking, there's got to be a resource for these people. Realtors, there's a ton of realtors out there, but there was nobody really specializing in our senior market and helping people transition from senior communities, from their home to senior communities. So I decided, in this past year that I wanted to start that type of business.
Okay.
Took me a while to resign. I resigned in November, but I actually left in February, and started my own business. And the focus is really helping seniors transition to senior communities. A lot of seniors really don't know what that means. They come into a community and,
So let's talk a little bit about that. What are the different options available for seniors?
That's a good question. There are a lot of options available. One of the options is, they can stay home and have private duty care like your company, which provides a lot of assistance. If that is not a good option, there's independent living, there's assisted living, there's memory care, there's adult daycare. So the difference is, for example, between independent living and assisted living is really the level of care.
Correct.
So in independent living, you may receive benefits like the meals, the housekeeping, transportation, things like that. You're not receiving care assistance, hands-on care.
Correct.
Right. So in assisted living, you're going to have that hands-on care. So a lot of times when people, with their homes, they start to realize that they can't keep their home, they can't maintain it.
So how do you help people make that transition? What are the different options that you offer?
So we go in and we will have a consultation, a free consultation, and really identify what that resident or what that prospect is needing.
Okay.
We look at the financial aspect. We look at, their emotional aspect. We look at, their social setting. A lot of times in deciding to go to a senior community, really comes down to, is it advantageous for them. The social part is really important. Even if they're not a social person, coming down to dinner with other individuals is really important. So we look at all those aspects. We look at their situation with their home financially. We look at downsizing. That's a huge factor because a lot of times, people have been in their house for 30, 50 years. They have accumulated a lot of things.
So you help them with that?
So we help them with that. So we will actually, kind of do an assessment of the home and what needs to be done, as far as, getting to that next step. One of the things, if they haven't selected a senior community, we will work with them.
You help them select.
We will help them select, go through and look at the different options, look at the price points, look at the benefits and what makes sense for that individual.
Okay, so you help them select the appropriate, not only if it's an independent living facility or an assisted living facility, but once you narrow it down to one of those, find a facility that is perfect for them.
Correct.
Very
And
good.
then, I will go with them, to the community and, meet with the sales team there. If there's questions that they don't answer, or they don't understand, I'll work with them.
Very good.
If there's family members, outside the area, I can also
You
talk with
communicate.
Yes, communication is a really big factor, part of my business.
It is very important, and since we have so many seniors living in Palm Beach without their family, that communication with the family is important. Mm-hmm. That is excellent. So they have decided on a place, but they are going like, I can't handle the move.
Right. So that's where, I would come in and, spend some time with them and, help them downsize. I do have a team that I work with. Mm-hmm. So depending on how complicated it is,
correct,
whether I'm, solely involved or I pull in a team to come in and help with that process. But we'll identify what they want to bring, what's important to them, and then we can schedule a move, work with that individual. One of the things I just worked with a client, and this was a really nice situation where he wanted to move. The referral was actually from a community to me.
Okay.
So they said, I have this guy who needs to sell his house. He wants to come to our community, but it's too much for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's on his own.
Correct.
So I met with him. We looked at his home. I listed his home, and part of his situation was the down payments for the community. He was very concerned that he didn't have enough for the down payment.
Okay.
So what we were able to do, I'm a preferred provider for a company called Outer Life Resources.
Okay.
And they provide bridge loans or line of credit loans for individuals that are moving into assisted living or communities.
Correct.
If we listed his house, we were able to secure a loan within a week because he wanted to move in, within a short period of time.
So he could get his money first.
So he got his money, and actually the money went directly to the community.
Okay.
So what was really nice was we were able to incorporate his moving cost and a cleaning fee to clean up his house.
Perfect.
So that I was able to show his house.
Very necessary. You need to make it pretty.
Yes. So in that case, it was a win-win. The community was happy. The resident was extremely happy because he wanted a specific unit. They were only going to hold it for a specific period of time.
Of course.
So he was able to get in within his time frame. And then this week, I got a contract on his home. So we are closing on the 30th of August. So
that's a fantastic story.
It is
very good.
Yes, so I'm so excited that it all worked out. And
you also help with the move itself, right? So you help people select the items they want to take to their new home.
Yes.
And you help them set out how they're going to have their home, where their favorite paintings or pictures will go in their new place. So they move in and everything is set up, right?
I do. I actually don't do all of the move.
Mm-hmm.
I do work with a team.
Correct.
But yes, as a service, we come in and we will, assist them with whatever they need. And as far as, picking items, where things are going to go, we have that discussion and we work with them on that transition.
Are there other options in addition to the line of credit that you just talked about? Financial options for seniors?
There are some other options. The VA aid and attendance is one of the options. There in Palm Beach County, there's a Medicaid program that assists people that qualify for assisted living. So those are things that I'm very much aware of and I've worked with in the past. So I can counsel and then call in, my trusted advisors. One of the advantages of working with me, I think for the community, is that I've been in the senior living business for over 10 years. And, at my community, I hosted, on a monthly basis, professional events. So I have a really nice network of professionals that I'm very comfortable with and I understand what they do. So if I don't have that expertise, I have a team behind me that can come in and, handle whatever situation that senior needs.
It is very important to have referrals that you feel comfortable with.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And when should people start considering making a change into an assisted living or independent living facility?
That's a really good question. Pretty much the sooner the better. What I've seen in the past is, seniors come in, or they tell me I'm not ready for senior living, and then all of a sudden there's an event, a health event. They fall, they're in the hospital, and now they're forced into a situation where they're not making this decision. Maybe their family members and their children, the adult children, are making that decision. So I always suggest, the sooner the better, to go out and at least have an idea of what community you like, what about it,
And this is something that you can help them with.
This is something that I can help them with. Being in this area in Palm Beach County, I'm familiar with all of the communities in this area. So we can actually identify a community based on what their needs are.
Perfect. But you also, and why should someone use you as a realtor as opposed to, another realtor in the community?
That's a good point. I think for our senior markets, I've been in real estate. Literally, I've had my license since 1989. I've worked in the field, but I've also worked in the senior living. And I think the combination, of understanding what the market is and the real estate piece, I think by having me, you have all of the other pieces that a normal realtor may not consider or understand.
Correct.
So I think it's important, to kind of walk through that process with them. I understand, I'm dementia trained. I'm also very familiar with our Holocaust survivor community. I was a certified Holocaust trainer, for our community. And
so you have a broad and wide experience.
Absolutely. So I understand the financial piece, and I understand, the emotional and the physical, needs that the residents would have in making that transition.
Perfect. One more question. What is the best way to downsize?
That's a good question. And my husband tells me all the time that my garage needs to be downsized. But the easiest way, and what we tell our seniors, the easiest way is called the Ohio method. Only handle it once.
Okay.
So what that means is, you start with the big items and you look at that item and you decide at that point, am I going to sell it? Am I going to donate it? Or am I going to give it to a family member?
Perfect.
So we will go through, the home and, look at those items. A lot of times, I give them homework and say, okay, I'll be back next week.
Okay.
Let's take a look. We'll start in a spare room that they're not using, and we start with that process. Decide if that furniture is going to stay or if that furniture is going to go, and we make that decision. So I think the hardest thing for seniors to do is, they're emotionally attached to their items. This is a process.
I know.
And, so it does take some time.
I'm sure that you need to have them commit to a time frame, right?
Yes. So they're committing to a time frame. They're committing, setting goals. And that's why, the question that you had asked, when should they start looking? It's always the sooner the better, because, it is a process. And if they've been in their house for 30 years, they have 30 years worth of treasures that may not fit in their new community.
Probably will not fit.
Right.
Very good. Yes, so they need to start doing this. And this is something that is so important to have someone assist them, because it's a hard process to go through.
It is. And, it's easier when you have somebody else saying, now, why do you need that item? And it makes them think, do I really need that item? And a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, it's, no, they really don't need that item. Sometimes I'll tell them, maybe take pictures of it, or, if you want to give it to a family member, that's important. But one thing I've found with the family members, you have to give them deadlines as well. You can't just say, come and get this. You have to say, come and get this by next Friday, or, Goodwill is coming to get it.
Correct.
So you give them a time frame as well.
So you help them in many different ways, Nina. I can tell that you go well beyond the scope of your work, and that is fantastic. And you have a good heart, and it shows.
So I'm more than just a realtor. I provide a lot of value to the seniors in making that transition. So I make sure that their house is sold but I provide that support and, the guidance in making the transition.
Well, you have a very broad and deep experience professionally, and you bring it all to your clients.
Yes. So
and that is fantastic.
Thank
is
you.
fantastic.
And I'm excited about it because, this is really taking my life's work from the financial piece, to even the healthcare piece. I understand the whole process. So I can assist them from start to finish. And if I don't have the answers, I have a team with me that can provide those services.
Well, that is excellent. I mean, you have a passion for your work, and it shows. So we're very happy to have you here today with us, Nina.
Thank you.
And this concludes another episode of Palm Beach Senior Chat. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.